All right. Let's start out by saying Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rucha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is She That Liveth in Pleasure is Dead While She Liveth. And pretty much, I don't know what happened prior to that. I was going live, and for some reason, the audio wasn't on. Before I started, the mic said it was working, but I don't know. It is what it is. Nevertheless, we're moving. We're moving on. Now, I was watching this video here that the elder Karataza out of the Vegas camp was doing. What we've been warning about these women as harsh reality is setting in, and pretty much, these women are losing it. So we've, for years, even before the YouTube era, going way back, have always gone into scripture in Isaiah 32, beginning at the 9th verse, as to the hard times that are coming for these women. And one thing that these devils have done to these women is made them believe that they don't need a man. And even when we go to Isaiah 32, right, in verse 2, let's just go there real quick. Isaiah 32 and verse 2, because shit is about to get really hard, especially for you women. You got to remember, these cities are known as metropolises, or a metropolis is a mother city. It's set up really to cater to women, because the way things were before, when people were living out in the woods, had their homes out there, had to hunt for everything, you had to fish, you had to hunt, you had to plant. That made people a lot physically and mentally stronger, because you just couldn't get up that morning and walk down or take or jump in your car and drive to a grocery store or a supermarket and pick up groceries for the day or for the week or whatever the case may be to cook. You had to actually get up, go out there and hunt for your food. Meanwhile, the woman was at home taking care of the babies, making sure the house was clean, making sure that, things were in order. So when the man came back with the goods, dinner could start being prepared. But nowadays, the way things are, everything is laxed in these cities. And it got even worse when they started bringing in these fast food joints. And not only just that, when things really, 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 really got really, really bad was when they started doing those drive-through windows, which made people a lot more lazy. You have these big mother effers that, can barely walk going through these drive-throughs because they're too goddamn lazy to park their car and walk in. You shouldn't be in them places anyway. But one thing you should do is walk. Get your big fat ass up and start walking. One thing that I despise is going to a supermarket and seeing a young Jake, or man or woman, fucking in a cart, one of them, them electric carts, driving around the store because they're too goddamn lazy to walk around. Meanwhile, you have old people that could barely walk, that got to sit waiting for a long ass time for this big fat clown, to get his big lazy fat ass up so that they can use the cart to go around, and get what they got to get when they really the ones that need it. But this is what this world created was this lazy, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word for it. When you're not in motion. I can't think of the word right now, but Lord's will, it'll come back. You just sitting there, sedentary, I believe the word is, just sitting there rotting because you're too goddamn lazy to get up. Stagnant is good too. But Isaiah and these devils really made these women believe that they didn't need a man, so they gave them that comfort, the comfort of the cities. They gave them the comfort of benefits, the comfort of welfare in all of this, right? And eventually, what happened? Slowly but surely, they're stripping them of this to where they got to work, and not it ain't just enough to work at one job. You got to work 2 or 3 jobs. Barely have enough time for anything, and barely have enough money for anything outside of your bills. And these women, they're starting to feel it, but this devil, you know, you know, tricked you, deceived you into believing that you didn't need a man. When here in the book of Isaiah 32 and 2, just before this, the opening statements, condemning you women, right? This is what it says, Isaiah 32 and 2. And a man, and this is a man of Yahweh Bashem Shai, shall be as in hiding place from the wind, meaning from this devastation that's coming, these hard times that are coming. And the covert, which is a covering, from the tempest, the hard times that are coming. As rivers of waters in a dry place. So a man of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, is going to be a refreshing, a covering, a bodyguard, so to speak, to these women in these times, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Imagine being in a desert, and then there's this big, stone or mountain that has shade behind it, and you can hide behind that shade to get some rest, from and be refreshed from that hot ass sun. Well, that's what a man of the Lord is going to be. And I want to say this to you sisters, you so-called believing sisters out there. If you have a man that is a man of the Lord, and that man has more than you as a woman, you can't get mad at that man. This is a part of the scriptures. Because a lot of you women out there, you say you believe in the truth, shalom, all this stuff. But when it comes down to that, you don't accept that. Oh yeah, no, I could deal with it all. I'll be home, I'll be subservient, I go, I clean, I cook, I'll have babies, all of this, I'll sew, whatever. But that's that one thing I can't do. We'll wait till the kingdom to have, so he could have more than one woman. No, you're going totally off. And that's what we mean about these women that say they believe in the Lord, but then when it comes to that, they can't handle that. Why? Because they've been tricked by this goddamn devil that a man is only supposed to have one woman. When you look at the logically at the whole situation, women bleed once a month. They bleed for a certain period of time, right? Then they have babies. When you have babies, it comes a point you can't have sex with the woman. She pops the baby out. If it's a male child, she's unclean for 40 days. If it's a female child, she's unclean for 80 days. So what is this man supposed to do in the meanwhile? Just that alone lets you know that a man is supposed to have more than one woman. So you sisters that have believing husbands that are men of the Lord, that are in this truth, dug in, and you are acting and because you giving him a hard time because he might have another woman, you're going off. And if you have a problem with that, that really means you don't really believe in this truth. I'm just saying, the spirit was on me earlier. I was thinking about this. So now that we're dealing with this, because I wasn't going to go into this topic, but this is what the spirit wanted me to go into. Now, before we read the main scripture here in verse 9, thought came to mind to go to chat. And what I typed in the chat was Isaiah 32 and 9 meaning, which we know what it means, but I just wanted to see what their take was on it, right? So it says here, Isaiah 32 and 9 in the KJV, rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. So this is like a very stiff warning, a very stiff admonition. Meaning and context. This verse is part of a prophecy from the prophet Isaiah warning the people of Judah, particularly the women at ease, about a coming time of judgment and hardship. And that coming time of judgment and hardship is labeled in the scriptures as the time of Jacob's trouble. And Lord's will, if the Spirit allows, we're going to get into it. But now, before I read on, right, this is the name, this is the title of the lesson, 1 Timothy 5 and 6. But she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. So you women that are at ease, living in pleasures, you're now starting to feel the effects, of the venom that you allowed the serpent to inject into you. You're now feeling the effects of that. This devil done bit you with that poison, and you bought it, and it was good for a while, but now you're starting to see your blood starting to coagulate, and you're starting to be strangled in society, and you're starting to really see now the error of your mistakes and how you really need a man, but nobody wants you anymore, especially you so-called Negro women. And it's heavy that the chat said that was dealing specifically with Judah, which is Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, a southern kingdom, and this is the main ones that are pushing that spirit out there, the spirit of independent, and all this bullshit. But look at them now, and them same skeezers, old school word for you, for those of you that remember, that were pushing that independent, you don't need a man, you could be riddled with disease and all that. They have families, they have husbands, they have, children. They at the house cooking and cleaning and doing things, womanly things. Meanwhile, they're telling you not to do those things. See? And you bought that shit. So now you're through. Because he that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. So the word is patalaho, right? Which is to live luxuriously, lead a voluptuous life, give oneself to pleasure. And that's what you women have done. That's why you women, are laying down with anything and everything that you want to. You laying down with men, you laying down with women, you doing whatever the fuck you want to do. And I'm just gonna be blunt. And when the walls come hanging out of your vagina, now you want to settle down. You done been used and abused. You done had sex with so many men you can't even remember the count. You don't even have a body count. You just have a count. And now you want to settle down. You are used and abused. You got bitches out there looking like boiled hot dogs, 60 years old. Now they want to settle down. I got that from Elder Apostle Gabar. He mentioned, I forgot who it was that said that this chick, Vivica A. Fox, is like a boiled hot dog. Now you want to settle down. And nobody wants your funky ass now. Now, Diana Ross's daughter, she still looks pretty good for 51, I believe she is, 51, 52, something like that. She's fine as hell still. And men will get with that, but they're not going to marry your ass. They're not going to marry your ass. Because you're used up. You're used goods. Oh, yeah, they'll get with you, but they're not going to marry you. You're not wife material. You haven't been trained. Your mind hasn't been instructed on how to be a woman, how to be a wife. Your mind was instructed by the serpent to do the total opposite. And now you're feeling the effects of that. It's starting to really, the walls are starting to close in on you. You lived in pleasure. And now those goodies are being taken away. And you don't know how to deal without those pleasures. You don't know how to deal without instant this and instant that and microwave and, and drive-thrus and, ordering at the Chinese store or, DoorDash or Uber Eats. You don't know how to do anything else but that. And now everything is being cut off. You had this, I didn't see the video, but I saw a still of a Shirley, right? Big Shirley. She caught an attitude. Like I said, I didn't see it. I'm just from what I can remember, because she couldn't buy Reese's peanut butter cups with her EBT card. So they closing in the walls on you. All of that shit that Esau used to trap you in, to bring you in, to give you that liberty, hey, ho, Now that shit is coming to bite you in the ass, and you're starting to feel the you're starting to feel the hangover. Now that you're starting to sober up, and you're starting to realize what a fucked up mistake you made, and you're trying to turn around from it, but it's too late. The damage is done, and men don't want you. Men are turned off by you. I remember you. I'm gonna just say it blunt, man. You so-called black woman, you went from the most desired woman to the most despised. You know, going back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, the black woman was, she was up there. She was like the most prized possession. And back then they still had their issues and problems. They was hoes, but they were a whole lot better than these modern demons today. But you bought all that, so your mind wasn't well instructed, as it says in the Apocrypha. There's nothing more valued than a mind well instructed. And if the older women in your life, like your grandmothers and your mamas and your aunties, and others, would have instructed you better and taught you how to be a woman and the things that are required of a woman, you would have did a lot better. But they didn't have that because they were brought up in the single parent home, which was raised by the mother, so on and so forth for so many generations, that this is what you got today. This is the product of, oh yeah, D died. This is the product of being raised in a single home run by a mother. What you see today. And this is what Esau wanted the whole time. That's why they try to take out my man, Jamie Foxx, for starring in that movie, doing that movie, They Cloned Tyrone. Because that's exactly what you see. You see a cloning of these jakes. All right, so she that liveth in pleasures there while she liveth. Now, let's go from there back to Isaiah 32 here. So here it says here, meaning and context, this verse is part of a prophecy from the prophet Isaiah, warning the people of Judah, particularly the women at ease, about a coming time of judgment and hardship. Breakdown of the verse. Rise up, you women that are at ease. This is a call to attention. Isaiah is addressing women who are living in comfort, complacency, and possibly moral or spiritual indifferences. Yeah, because, a woman knows deep down inside she's not supposed to be laying down with all types of men. But that's the spirit that's pushed out here. That's why men and women can find no greater pleasure than committing adultery. It's a thrilling, fascinating, it's a thrill. And that's the only way they get turned on, is by laying with other men's women, or women laying down with all these different men, knowing that they got a man. It says, in the culture of the time, these women likely represented a broader societal attitude of false security. You know what? Let's go. Let's go, Joe. Let's go. What the hell? You know what? Come on, man. Just bear with me. There we go. What is... Come on, man. Come on, man. What the fuck? What is false security? False security, or false sense of security, refers to a belief that one is safe or protected when, in reality, they are not. Why? Because you women gave up your cover. You gave up your security. Your security is the man. Matter of fact, let's go to 1 Timothy and show you something. And what's one of the things they push? Pretty much murdering your children before they're even born. There was a billboard up years ago that said that the most dangerous place for a black so-called black baby to be in is the mother's womb. You know how disheartening that shit is? Huh? To think of that shit, and you're taking away lives. You're murdering. You're doing a greater job in taking Jake out than Esau did. Boy, oh boy. 1 Timothy chapter 2 and 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in a transgression. To this day, these women are in the transgression. Hey, shalom to all you brothers out there, elders, brothers out there in Jersey, shalom. You women are in the transgression to this day. But it says, notwithstanding, and although that happened, she shall be saved in childbearing. If, see, just the stipulation, if they continue in the faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So you're going to be saved in childbearing. But you remove the man out the house. And when these women get pregnant, what they do? First thing they do, go right to Planned Parenthood to get an abortion. And that's why every time, like when we were in San Fran, staying by the elders, old crib, every time we would walk and I passed the Planned Parenthood, I was just throw up curses on that place. It says, if they continue in the faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. So let's go back. It says, hear my voice, you careless daughters. Careless here doesn't mean thoughtless in a casual sense. It implies recklessness or heedlessness, meaning you're not taking heed. It's not that the instructions are not there. It's not that you don't have men out here breaking it down to you. It's just that you're not taking heed to the calling. It says it implies recklessness or heedlessness towards the Most High's warnings. Isaiah is urging them to listen because they have been ignoring spiritual truths. And that's why you're in the condition that you're in. And what's the thing that you got? All these different Jakes, men and women, talking all kind of shit about the Hebrew Israelites. I just saw a thumbnail on a video where this demon from the lowest pits of hell, which there's no such thing as hell, said it just said that she was sexually harassed by a Hebrew Israelite. What? But this is the shit that these stupid bitches are on. The very men that are out here, showing them, teaching them, telling them through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai what they need to do to get out of these conditions, they're talking shit about them. So you know what? Good for you. And fuck you too. The Jacob's trouble can't come fast enough to see you women in a disheveled state. Because that's the only thing you understand. Hardship. Because when shit is easy, what happens? Look what happens when you get shit easy. And this devil gave it to you easy. But now he's taking it away. And now you're left to fend for yourself. So if the government is giving you all these different goodies, how in the fuck are you an independent woman? Independent woman does not mean a woman that's not with a man. Independent means independent, meaning you don't depend on anybody for anything. So you dummies have been lulled into a false sense of security. And you're feeling the effects now. How does it feel? You feel it swish, spiritual. It's a quote, High Priest Ariel. He's talking about the sword. It says, give ear unto my speech, or you repeat it command. To listen carefully, suggesting urgency and importance in the prophetic message to follow. Because times are going to get hard on the boulevard. I want to look up real quick the careless daughters. I want to look up the word careless. Here we go. And we're gonna come back and read this law as well. You know what? Let me look up this one. Sha'anan. At ease, quiet, secure. A false sense of security. At ease, secure. At ease, careless, wanton, which means undisciplined, arrogant. And this right here should have the picture of the so-called black woman next to it. Arrogant. Because that's exactly what you see. These women, you look at them, and it's just like they just have this attitude as to, don't look at me. I don't care if my ass and my titties are hanging out and I got all these curves hanging out. Don't look at me. You know? Like High Priest Ariel used to say years ago, you try to compliment them and they want to get nasty with you. It's like they mixed with rattlesnake and pit bull. You know? And that's why it is true. They are poison. You know? Total turnoff. You know, they all look, it's like a clone of all of them. The majority of them, you know, with them stupid fucking eyelashes, don't know how stupid that shit looks. And that stupid glaze in their eyes. All of them look like that. The majority of them look like goddamn transmissions. That shit is a total turnoff, man. So security, pride, arrogance. Yeah, because security and pride brings arrogance. Or security, should I say, ease brings arrogance. Yeah, that's a good one. Ecclesiastes 26:25. A shameless woman shall be counted as a dog beautiful, but she that is shamefaced will fear the Lord. Yep, that's right. Ecclesiastes 25:19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Yeah, can you get that one too? I believe that might be in the same chapter. The eyelids of a woman, haughty looks. If you could get it, somebody can get it in the GNT. I believe it went hard in the GNT. It might be Ecclesiastes 25. You know, or it might be 26. The haughty eyelids or something like that. Man, that hits hard. Oh yeah, the time of Jacob's trouble definitely going, and they're gonna get in order right away. See, you don't understand. You're gonna get in order right away. It ain't gonna take no 20 minutes. As soon as you start seeing heads getting busted and shit going, you're gonna get right in order. You're gonna remember, oh, I'm a woman. Just like you have these rattlesnakes out here talking shit. Motherfucker, and as soon as Jake get ready to pop him upside the head, I'm pregnant. Oh, now you remember you're a woman. Oh, you're gonna hit a woman? Oh, now you remember you're a woman. When you were about to get your head beat in, now you remember you're a woman. But what happened when your trap was running? The word there is batak. To trust in, have confidence. Right. So to have confidence in this easy state that you're in. And you see it, it's like a sense of entitlement. To be bold, see? To be secure. There goes that word secure again. That false sense of security. To feel safe. And they thought, because Esau gave them a false sense of security, they thought, yeah, Daniel Spencer, that was a D from What's Happening. They thought that she just passed away. They thought that they were safe in that carelessness. They thought they were safe in the loving arms of Eve. You thought you were safe, didn't you? You thought it was safe to go outside again, right? You thought that the devil gave you that false sense of security, and you just thought your shit didn't stink. You thought that the world had to, bow down and cater to you. But look at you now. And how long have the prophets been saying this? About rise up. Do you know how many times that scripture must have been read over the years? Going way back. And now you're starting to see the effects of it. Because the Most High's words don't go out void. They're taking root. They're establishing things on the earth. They're shaking shit up down here. All right, so let's go back to the chat. So it says deeper meaning. Isaiah is not just singling out women for moral criticism. He's urging them symbolically to represent the complacent people of Jerusalem, which, yeah, you could use that. The ease they feel is a false sense of security. So we've just read what a false sense of security was, right? It says false security or false sense of security refers to a belief that one is safe or protected when, in reality, they are not. Because look what's happening now. And that's why, the Latin tribes and some of the Southern Kingdom tribes are getting shooken up. The men. I mean, they're just snatching up. Let's see. So, damn, brother, put that. Okay. Wow. Yeah, Lord's of, okay. Woo, there we go. So, Rock 26 and 9. The water, bro. The water, Elder Hawad. GNT. You can tell an unfaithful wife by the bold and flirting look in her eyes. Yes. And you've seen it many times. You have these skanks with their man, and as soon as men start walking in the room, their head is, looking. Boy. Woo! So let's go back. So it says, as judgment, likely referring to the Assyrians or Babylonian invaders. Yeah, that happened back then. It's coming. That happened back then, but this also applies today. And I ask chat another question after this, which you're gonna see. These people are oblivious to the approaching danger because life seems fine on the surface. Woo! Check this out. Oblivious, because I know you ain't gonna look it up. Not aware of or not concerned about what is happening around one. And you bubbleheads are like that. Yesterday we went to the grocery store to get some stuff, and we're coming out the grocery store, and this hyena flies out from the main street into the parking lot, not even looking. And we were driving, and she just flies in there, not even looking, and makes a turn. She never once looked to the left. And that's how you women are out here. You're oblivious to any danger. You're not aware of your surroundings. You're not aware of what's going on. You're just living your life, this demonic life that Esau provided for you. But you don't think that there's going to be any repercussions. But it's coming. It's coming. It seems fine on the surface, but you're starting to see that surface, the cheap veneer that was on that surface is starting to wash away and wipe away. You're starting to get like little glimpses. Oh shit! What the? Oh man! Beautiful. Proverbs 22:3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. That's right. That's you women too. The brother put ratchet is a slang term primarily used in hip hop culture that describes someone or something as wild, uncouth, or low class. That's right. It's low class. Yeah. You know, back in the days, you had the term skeezer. For those of you that go way back, you know, that was the term of the day, skeezer. Today you got ratchet, you got other terms, you know, but that's what it that's what it is. So it says spiritual application, warning against complacency. See, warning against complacency. She that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. It's easy to become at ease when things are going well. You got daddy, government, get paying your bills, you know. You got all kind of money coming in from different baby daddies, and all that shit is about to be cut off because they're putting a lot of restrictions on all these goodies that you were getting. I'm excited. I'm excited. Your goodies are being cut off, and you're forced. Oh, brother, there's skeezer, black slang for a promiscuous woman. Yep, dating back to a 1987 rap song. Yeah, skeezer pleaser. That goes back to a UTFO. All right. It says, call to repentance. The following verses call for mourning and awareness of the destruction to come. This is a call to return to the Most High before judgment arrives. And if you look at every society where Jake was doing good and they forsook the Most High, they were doing good. Just ran wax fat and kick, right? Then all of a sudden, something happened. Boom. They went into captivity into this nation or that nation or the other nation. And then the captivities went from not too long to longer periods of time. Because during the time of judges, Jake was going into captivity 18 years, a few years here, a few years there, till a judge rose up and delivered them. Then you started going into the more hardcore captivities, the Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, the Medo-Persian captivity, the Greek captivity, the Roman captivity, the American captivity. It says timeless relevance. Now, this is key. This verse still resonates today. Yes, it does. Cautioning against spiritual laziness or indifference when times are comfortable. Now, what I typed in after that, can Isaiah 32:9 apply to today using Romans 15:4 of things that were written aforetime? Absolutely. Isaiah 32:9 can be applied to today, especially when considered through the lens of Romans 15:4. Romans 15:4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So these things that were written back then in the past serve as a guideline for today, as an instruction for today. But you women don't like instruction. Like a man said, hookers on a point. If a hoe don't get no instruction, she headed for destruction. Something along those lines. Okay, so it says, connecting Isaiah 32:9 to today. Paul tells us in Romans 15:4 that the Old Testament was written not just for historical reference, but for our instruction, encouragement, and hope. That's right. That gives us biblical grounds to draw lessons from Isaiah 32:9 for the modern believer. Right, and along with other scriptures also. Application of Isaiah 32:9 today. Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, you careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. While Isaiah originally addressed women in Jerusalem, yes, but it's really applied to today too, who were complacent and unaware of impending judgment, the principle applies broadly to anyone who has grown spiritually complacent or indifferent in light of Romans 15:4. Here's how. Modern spiritual warning from Isaiah 32:9. It says, complacency and prosperity. Just as those women were at ease, many today grow lukewarm when life is comfortable. And what the Lord said about lukewarm, He's gonna spit you out of his mouth. Green's Dictionary of Slang, hyenas equals a lazy or stupid person. Comparing a person to a hyena is the crudest, goddamn, form of insult. Hyenas are ugly. Yeah, they are. And these Shirleys, boy, woof. Some of these Keishas, boy, woof. devious, cowardly thing which often feed on other animals, right? And that's what these women do. They feed on other people. But remember, they're independent, but they feed on other people. They can't function without the government. They can't function without child support. And they don't use that child support to help the babies. They get mad when they don't get that money because they can't go spend it on themselves, spend it on the dudes that they with now, going clubbing, partying, drinking. That's why they pissed off. And the Lord is cutting the ring off on you, man. We forget the Most High, neglect prayer, and assume peace will last, right? And you thinking that by you forsaking the Most High, you know your peace will last. Let's go to. I know that's in Deuteronomy 32, but I'm not sure exactly what verse. Boom. First one that comes up, Deuteronomy 32:15. But Jeshurun, which is a representation of the nation of Israel, which is what goes back to the Hebrew word Yashawan, you know. It says, but Jeshurun, which means darling, you know, you could also apply it to the first because Jake is the first, those are the ones the Lord loves the most, or loves, period, beginning with Judah. But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxing fat, thou art grown thick. Right? You were doing good, you were living lovely. Right? Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook the Most High, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation. So you women, you became complacent, and you thought that this peace would last. You didn't think there would be any repercussions for your promiscuity. You didn't think there would be any repercussions for your lack of self-discipline, for your lack of chastity, for your lack of discipline, period. You didn't think there were going to be repercussions. You thought that would last. You thought that once you got on that ride, on that train, you taking a ride on the wrong train. I don't take a ride off no man's train. Oh, you take a ride and you get run over. An inside joke. You thought that train ride was going to last forever. Like Keith Sweat, make it last forever. You thought that once you got that grip on that life that was painted in your demonic warped head, that you were set for life. But now you're seeing this slipping away slowly but surely. It says Yahushua echoes this warning in Revelation 3:17 to the Laodicean church, because thou sayest, I am rich. Ooh, that's bad. And increase with goods and have need of nothing. Matter of fact, let's get that. That's bad. That's some jewels right there, man. Revelation 3:17. It says, because thou sayest, I am rich, and increase with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. And that's you women out here. You're wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. Let's look up this word, wretched. Ratchet. You're ratchet. Wretched. Not ratchet, wretched. It's talaiporos, tilapia. Talaiporos, tilapia. I'm having a dove moment. Please excuse my folly. Enduring toils and troubles, afflicted, wretched, right? You're enduring toils and troubles and you don't even know it. Because the moment that you forsook the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and your man, you forsook what keeps you safe. You left the safety of the man to be able to partake in this demonic society. And now you're paying for it. Proverbs 11:4, riches profit not in the day of wrath, and righteousness delivers from death. Beautiful. Micah 7:10, then she that is my enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her, now shall she be trodden as the mire of the streets. Boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till Jacob's trouble hits fully. You're going to really feel it. You're going to have Shirley's, and you're going to have a lot of women that's going to suffer in these times. A lot of women, and a lot of you metrosexual men too. You're going to suffer in these times. And it's about time. Beautiful. Brother Deuteronomy 8:11. Beware that thou forget not the Lord thy power in not keeping his commandments and his and his judgments. Salakia. That's a good scripture. What the fuck? Oh boy, I tell you. Damn, man. Deuteronomy 8:11. Matter of fact. Beware that thou forgettest not the Lord thy power in not keeping his commandments and his judgments and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Yep, beautiful. All right, Salakia. Let me go back here. Salakia, enduring toils. Okay? So wretched. You think you're rich, you think you got it good, you think you're doing good, but you're wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. Let's see, miserable. Eleinos. To be pitied. Miserable. Yeah, you're going to be miserable. Les miserables. All right, so let's go back to the chat. Man, brothers are on fire. So now, part 2 is modern spiritual warning from Isaiah 32:9. Ignoring prophetic warnings. Isaiah called them to hear and give ear, a call we often ignore today when the Most High's word warns about sin, judgment, or Yahweh's return. And you thumb your nose, you push the day of the Lord away. Matter of fact, we got to get that. Let's go to Ezekiel 12. We're going to go straight down to the point. 26. Again, the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come. And he prophesies of the times that are far off, right? And that's what you do. You put far away the day of the Lord. You put it far, far away. Matter of fact, he that put far away the day of the Lord. Let's see. I don't think it's gonna come up like this. Probably be too much. Too many scriptures. Oh, there you go. Amos 6:3. Ye that put far away the evil day and cause the seed of violence to come near. Right. Because the seed of violence is what you're going to receive. Because the path that you chose. Matter of fact, let me see something. Let's look up the word violence, and then we're going to go back. Violence. The word there's chamat. Chamat. Violence, wrong, cruelty, injustice, right? You chose injustice because when you put Jake on child support, that shit don't go away, and you have women that have put, men on child support that were taking care of their children. And then they go to the courts and they're going to side with the woman. Here it is, the man that been taking care of his children, giving the bitch money. And then she going there, she's, oh, he's a deadbeat. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't paying, he ain't paying nothing for it. And here it is, every week without fail, this man been providing for his children and everything, but the bitch goes tell the court that he wasn't paying. And guess what? Now they got him on the hook, and they don't give a shit if you can't live. Because that is a sure way for the courts to make money. Back in the days, they called child support the darling of the court, because that's when they were making their most money. And they had a numbering system from 0 to 5, 0 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. If you get 10 out of 10 men to pay, guess what? That's more revenue for the court. So that whole child support thing was a goddamn scam. Yeah, bro, I hate this place too. So now, verse 28, therefore say unto them, thus saith the Lord power, there shall none of my words be prolonged anymore, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because the Most High is wakening up his prophecies now. Okay, all right. There's enough speaking. We still out there speaking, but enough speaking on these particular issues. Now things are happening. At the end, it shall speak and not lie. Boom, boom. Dropping prophecy here, prophecy there, prophecy over there, prophecy on the digital system, prophecy on the MOTB system, prophecy, of these shortages that are happening, and just in general, all them goodies being taken away from you. You're going to feel it. So it says, today's world often scoffs at calls to repentance. Yeah, just as Judah did then. And you Israelites today, you scoff at this. That's where you have a whole host. The elder Menata Zakba could break it down for you. You have a whole host just on TikTok videos of Israelites talking shit about, of Jakes talking shit about the Hebrew Israelites. A whole plethora of videos. And that brother, man, the Lord gave him a hell of a spirit, because I don't have that type of patience to be sitting there listening to that bullshit. The Lord got a spirit on that brother to where he can just get all the info he needs and do lessons on it. That's a hellified spirit. A call to wake up spiritually. Rise up is a wake-up call. In the New Testament, Paul gives a similar challenge. It is high time. Woo, that's true. It is high time to wake out of sleep, because I thought about this precept earlier. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So what we're going to do right now, Lord's will, we're going to look up two things. Let me grab Romans 13. Right? And that's... Yep. Okay, now let's go back to Isaiah 32. And let's go to the part where it says rise up. The word there is kwam, which you also could say kwam, which is to rise. To rise, arise, stand, rise up, stand up. Right, because you've been comfortable. Now your attention is needed. So you're being drawn to attention. You're being drawn to be aware of what's happening right now. So you're not complacent. You can't relax like you did. You want things to go back to where you could just sit back and live that sedentary life that you've been living. Eating your ho-hos and, whatever other shit that you eat. Yeah, pretty much a call to arms, like wake up. See, to cause a stand, set, station, establish, because shit is about to get bad for you. Okay, so rise up, you women that are at ease. Romans 13, it says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So let's look up the word high time. What time is it? High time. Order, which is hour. A certain definite time or season fixed by natural law and returning with the revolving year of the seasons of the year, spring, summer, autumn, winter. In daytime, bounded by the rising and setting of the sun a day. That's different ones. A 12th part of the day, time, an hour. The 12 hours of the day are reckoned from the rising to the setting of the sun. Any definite time, point of time, moment. So basically, it's the moment to rise out of sleep. All right. So let's go back to the chat. It says, number 4, call to listen to the Most High's voice. The Most High still speaks through Scripture. The call to give ear means not just hear, but heed His word. That's right. Using Romans 15:4, Isaiah 32:9 becomes a timeless warning and a personal challenge. Don't get comfortable in your ease. Wake up, listen to the Most High. Judgment and change are coming. See? And you see that's like, that's an emoji there. And it's like somebody speaking, like a speaking emoji. And this is like a serious, stiff warning of things that are coming. And you didn't listen, so now it's time for you to feel the repercussions of not listening. This is Luke 17:26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, and they married wives. They were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. So this flood that's coming now are these different military groups, and you got the government that's raising funds for these individuals that they're hiring as ICE agents to go around and snatching people up. Now, if they say, I believe it was $1,000 a head, I don't know if it's still that. If they say that, do you think that these devils give a shit who's legal and who's not? They just grabbing whoever they want because they figure the more bodies, the more money. And you know times are hard out there. So what do you think they're going to do? They're not going to go about doing business the right way in justice and righteousness and equity. The scriptures say, that as a nail sticketh between two rocks, so doth sin stick closely between buying and selling. And in these hard times, people are desperate. So what you think they're going to do? So it's pretty much bounty hunters on the loose, and they're going to grab whoever it is that they feel is going to make them money. Because you hear the guy, look, I'm legally here. I'm an American citizen. Say, yeah. And they grab you and stuff your ass. When they cuff you, they stuff you. Inside joke. All right. It says, likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built it. So it's no different. And it's going to be the same thing going on now, because the scriptures say that when Yahweh Shai comes back, it's going to be like a thief in the night. It's going to catch many people off guard. But the elect are not going to be caught off guard, because the elect have their lamps trimmed, burning bright, watching and waiting for the Lord. It says, but the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Right. Even with all those admonitions, which the Lord is going to destroy them anyway, because the only reason why he said what he said was because he wanted Lot. Abraham wanted Lot to get out of there. You see, Abraham didn't give a damn about them moles. He cared about his nephew. And that was a surviving nephew from his brother that had passed, if I'm not mistaken, Haran. I believe Lot was Haran's son, if I'm not mistaken. All right. It says, even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, let him not come down and take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Right. Because if you have goodies, a lot of goodies, cars and riches and, wealth and, nice homes, you're going to want to go back to them things. Salaki for a minute. Just bear with me 1 second. Hey, Shalom, bro. Yeah, I'm doing a video right now. I'll give you a call as soon as I finish. Shalom. All right. So it says, in that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. So why did Lot's wife turn to stone? She turned back not because she wanted to get one last look at the city. Lot was born in Haran, who died in Ur. To Haran, to water, bro. Who died in Ur of the Chaldees. Yep. And that's what they named Haran in Syria, or Haran in Syria, that name. And that's where the descendants of Abraham's family were, in Syria. That's why it speaks about, thou shalt not abhor a Syrian, not, an Edomite. All right. So it says, remember Lot's wife. So the reason why Lot's wife looked back, because they had many riches. Remember, why did Abraham and Lot split? Because there was a contention between the herdsmen of Lot and the herdsmen of Abraham, because they had so many riches, so many cattle, that they were bumping heads. So Abraham said, look, just look at the land. Whichever way you go, I'll go the opposite way. That way we'll have enough room for all our stuff. So they was making buku money. They was paid. And that's why she looked back, because she didn't want to give those riches up. She didn't know where the hell she was going. So that's an example of a lack of faith. She wanted to go back to what was sure. She didn't want to go to the unknown, not knowing that where the unknown was at, that was safety. And going back to what you were used to, that was death and destruction. So she turned into that pillar of salt. She got immediately dehydrated. Because as the elder pastor broke down, it made sense. The shield was on the back of them, not in the front of them. That's why the Lord said, don't look back. And then when she looked back, she forsook the shield, so to speak, because she wanted them goodies. Whosoever shall seek to save his life, just like Lot's wife, shall lose it, just like she did. And whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. See? And it goes on. It says, I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken and the other shall be left, meaning sleeping, not no more activity. Two men shall be grinding together, meaning working, not grinding on each other. The one shall be taken and the other left. There's an election. Two men shall be in the field working. The one shall be taken and the other left. All right. So pretty much, man, let's go back here. So the summary is, don't get comfortable in your ease. Wake up, listen to the Most High judgment, and change, or listen to the Most High. Judgment and change are coming, and it's about time. Yep. But she that liveth in pleasure is there while she liveth. Beautiful. That's heavy, because that's the first precept almost that we started with, and now we come in full circle. It reminds us not to take spiritual matters lightly, whether in times of peace or trouble. Like the original audience, we are being called to spiritual alertness, repentance, and renewed dependence on the Most High, not the government. Let's go real quick to Isaiah, and we can end it here. Isaiah chapter 10 and 20. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, meaning the elect, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, the elect, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. Right. So they're not going to rely on Esau and the nations for their safety net anymore. Just as we read here. We are being called to spiritual alertness, repentance, and renewed dependence on the Most High. It says, they shall no more again stay upon them that smote them, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. And that's what the elect are going to lean on, the truth of the Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which Lot's wife did not choose that, because she didn't know what the unknown was going to bring. She just wanted to go with what she was used to and accustomed to, living that good life. And that's these women out here. That's why now that these little goodies are being taken away from them, their comfortable life that they were living is being threatened. And oh no, they can't have that. But it's coming, because the Most High is going to make it happen. Proverbs 3 and 5, trust in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Right, that's right. It says, the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, back in Isaiah 10 and 21, unto the mighty power. For though thy people be Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consumption decree shall overflow with righteousness. Right. So the ones that are meant to be delivered, which are the elect, they're going to be delivered in the righteousness of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say Shalom.